I've got to say straight away, if you hear any noises, you see these bushes moving, there's a couple of big old cows in there having a wee feed on the grass that's in there. I was actually going to pitch this tent in there, but they've driven me out, so if you hear some cracking on that moving, don't worry, it's just some lovely big cows. Right, so today I'm out with the OneTigris Coco Nest hot tent. Full disclosure, I bought this tent. I had it in my basket for most of this year. Unfortunately, when it was in my basket, it was £150. It's now £230. I think that's what I paid for it. I'll put in the screen what it is actually at this moment. So maybe a tent, if you like it, once you've seen this review. You may want it, might want to hang on to next year. On AliExpress, no difference in the price. It's still quite an expensive tent. Now, I've already camped in this tent. I was out midweek in the woods. If you want to see that video, as I've already spoken about, it's on the separate channel, which is Grey Hikes 4K. You can go and watch that cinematic version of my night out in it. Full disclosure in this tent, it has got a couple of issues, but we'll cover that when I'm assembling it. But first of all, we'll go and have a look and see what we have inside the tent. Right, let's have a look at what comes in the bag. So, the carrying bag for it, really good, very wide opening there. You can scrunch it up any way you want to put it in. It's got these two little loading straps on there you can cinch up to keep the poles on the outside. The poles itself, you get 3 sets, and they are 7001 aluminium alloy again, and they're 10.2 millimeters thick. They do come pre sort of bent to go over into the shell of the tent. You get 12 of the normal MSR style pegs. The cordage, in fact the cordage throughout this tent is quite substantial. It's about 5 millimeters thick there. Again, 12 pegs. It should always be 14. With every tent that I review, you need 14 tents to fully pitch, 14 pegs to fully pitch it out. Now the fly itself, the fly is a 3000 millimeter sil nylon, which is 40D. The inner is a 20D on the material, and the actual ground sheet is 75 denier on that, but we'll look at that once we get the tent pitched. Right, the overall weight of the tent is 3.5 kilos, so quite a hefty tent. Right, so we'll go and take the tent now, and we'll try and pitch it out. I'm a wee bit stuck for real estate here with all the gorse bushes around us, and the cows continually moving me on. So I'm just going to pitch it here. But the good thing is, once you've actually erected the tent, you can actually move it to anywhere you like. So we'll do that first. Right, sun is really bright today. There's a wee bit of chill, hence I've got the jacket on. But when that sun hits you, it's lovely. But cracking picture of Cough Castle over there at the minute, and Pool Harbour that side. Lovely little. This is a nature reserve we're in just now, so I need to be very tactful for what I'm doing. I've not brought the stove with me, because the minute I put that up, the public will go mental, because in Dorset there's still a ban on any fires whatsoever, and I think it's really the cows have gone nuts, and really been extended another 2 years, so I'm not going to put that up just to attract attention to myself. Right, so got the poles and the pegs and that out the bag. So the best thing to do is just lay the tent out, and this is just going from my experience of pitching it through the week. The key thing is to find the door and have that facing the way that you want it. But as I said, once you put it together, you can move it to anywhere you want. Right, so the poles, which is quite important, you've got to establish this pole here that goes through this sleeve, which is a lowermost one. What I found when I was pitching it the first time, it sort of kept getting stuck on the pole that I'd already put through there, so I do the lower one first. On the bag, I'll also show you, it does give you instructions here, and it actually, for once, the instructions are quite correct. You've got to put the 2 side ones in first before you put the pole, the last one in. So the last one goes in while the tent is actually up. But you'll see that in a second. Right, the ends. Oh, the cow coming out. So the ends, you have an end that has a little sort of cup that you put the pole through. That's the end that you have to put the tent in, the tent pole through. And then at the other end, it's just sealed off. So it just comes to a sewn up bit of a pocket that's there. As I said, the poles are pre-bent. You can probably see a bit better there. They are well and truly bent in the ends there for you. So again, it's like a lot of tents. Just put it in the sleeve. As I said, when you get to the centre bit, it does get stuck slightly. But when you assemble these tents, it's always better to do them on the ground first. The same with the crescent. I found that when you're putting it together, you will struggle with it. But it's always best just to leave it flat on the ground when you're doing it. Not going to help if it's windy. I think that could be a bit of a hindrance if you had a strong wind going. Right, so the middle one here, that's the one you put up last. So you go to the opposite corner. In fact, no, that's me telling you porcupines. You put this one up. So the one that you put up last has got a little clip on it. That's what gives it away. So watch what Daisy's doing behind us there. Again, you can see what happens here. It kind of gets stuck in the sleeve. If you don't put the under one in first, the lower one in first, which I didn't do, even though I said it's a good idea to do it. So once you've got the two poles in, it's a case of standing it up and getting it pushed in. I would better doing this side first because it's the top. I found this quite difficult to do. It's quite tight. I feel like it can spring back and hit you in the face. Right, so last part is the third pole. Again, we'll only go in one end. It's almost October, yeah, it's the end of October, and I've got mozzies flying about here. Right, the thing to be aware of, again, you go through one sleeve into another. And you just got to keep pushing it through. Just check it's right the way through at the bottom. It isn't. Again, you've got a little cup at the bottom, and this time you have a little clip that you can put in. So there you are, that's it assembled. So you can move it anywhere you want. I'm going to set the door. I'll turn the door round. Right, we'll look at the stove jack first if we can see it. You can see if you pick that up. Right, so you've got the stove jacks here, and the tie down point is down there. Right, so anybody that had a OneTigris tent before, the stove jacks used to tie up to this end, and then they would droop down with the rain and hit the stove pipe, and they would melt. So this one's on it has a zip at each side. Now you have your stove jack there, all with the fireproof material. Again, you would just roll up this part here and tuck it away underneath. So that's a lot better for the last design where it was up here, because I had the OneTigris Rock Fortress, and it melted all this part here as it drooped down when the weather changed. So that is a little bit of an improvement. Now the sleeve material this time, it is not very thick. It feels a lot lighter. I'm not going to say flimsier because I haven't put a hole through it, but it is a lot lighter than the sleeves that I've got on the Crescent one. At the rear you have a vent which has a mesh in it, and has the standard little support pole there. You get a mesh on the side. Guy lines, you have a guy line on each pole, so you have 6 guy lines which is attached by a little loop. Again, it's very substantial material that's on there. Down at the bottom, so on 3 of the legs you have these little cups, that's where the feet stick in, and then you have a bit of a cinching cord here, so you can actually pull it further down, but it is slightly restricted, and this is one of the points I was going to bring out today. The gap round the bottom of the tent is ridiculous, and I've tried cinching it all up to get it as close to the ground as possible, and it just will not go. And that's what you have there, and then you have a strap for pegging it out as well. Right, we'll have a little look inside. Right, so you have quite a substantial inner, and it's all just pegged in all the way around, and it takes up obviously 50% of the tent. It is like, I don't know, what is it, hexagonal? Is it 1, 2, 3, 6? Hexagonal sort of shape, which does create a slight problem. If you want to put a normal large mat in there, you will struggle to fit it. Now, again, I'm just going to highlight the point here. You've got one side, it's down in the deck slightly, and then the other side, which is high, because it's uneven ground, but you're going to get that. And my experience on midweek when I was camping in it, the draft that was blowing underneath it was really bad, and it was really cold. It was our first cold snap that we had in the country, I believe, that night. Now, most of these types of tents, you would have a snow skirt on it. Now, this tent 100% needs a snow skirt. Or you're going to be in a wee bit of trouble with snow sort of drifting underneath that if you're going to take it out anywhere in sort of high areas. As I say, downside, yeah, that is a bit of a problem. I'll get a mat out in a minute and I'll show you how difficult it is to actually fit a sleeping mat in there. Got the normal elastic peg and loop attachments there. They're there for a reason. It has double zips again, and it has a tie back loop up here, and that's your mesh tied back. So it's quite a big, gives you quite a big an area, plenty of space for your kit, and this is where we come up with the first issue. Right, so there you are, full size matting. Straight away see you've got a bit of an issue where it's poking through at both sides. You can't sort of cinch it at any angle, so that's it at the seam where the door is, and that's the corners you get with it. Not too good, as you can see there. It's touching the outer of the tent, so you'll get condensation in there. And then on the night that I used it, that I was sleeping in it, I did get a lot of condensation in the tent. So your full size mats for people over 6 foot, you're going to struggle. What I've got with me, I've got Sandy's mat, which is your regular mat. I'll just inflate that and we'll put that in. Right, so that's it with a normal regular mat in there. So it just sort of fits. I've got a bit in the corner there and a bit in the corner there. So that's what it will take. So just bear that in mind. If you've got a regular size mat, this tent will work for you. If you've got the extra long mats like I do, then not so much. But you see, plenty of space at the back there for all your equipment to put that in there. Right, so that's the inner, which is optional to use, especially people who do a lot of hot tent camping. Not everybody has an inner, so it doesn't write the tent off. There's a couple of things goes against it, but that doesn't write the tent off. So I can show you what you can do when you're in here, when you're cooking and you've got the stove up. Right, one of the features is obviously the inner is removable, but what you can do when you're cooking and stuff, so I had my, obviously the stove has to go here where the stove jack is, and I had a chair here and I had all my other stuff around me. Tons of space in here, but having the stove close to this, it's a no-go. It did get really hot once the stove started burning. So what they've done in the design is you can actually just unclip the inner and move it back. It has quick release clips at the bottom corners. And then you just undo the peg and hoop system that goes all the way around the inner. And then you can push it back as far as you want. And what I did, I used some of the pegs and I just double pegged them through on the back to stop it sort of blowing forward. As I said, the wind was blowing underneath, so I just used the pegs again and put them through the same loops. And that really does give you tons of space to work with. So you don't need to have this. I think you can quite easily put a cot bed in here and you'd be quite comfortable. And the OneTigris, what was it called again? Rock Fortress that I had, we didn't have an inner in it. It was absolutely fine the way it was. We just had cot beds and we just slept in the cot beds with the fire going, and it was really toasty in there. But again, the big difference with that is it had the snow flaps at the bottom, which did maintain a lot of heat. But yeah, absolutely tons of space in here. You can get 2 people in here quite easily. Just a thing on when you're pitching this type of tent, what I noticed, and what you can see there with the wind blowing, movement. There is quite a bit of movement. So with a hot tent, you've got to guy it all out, regardless if you think there's going to be a bit of wind or anything like that. Any sort of movement will move the stove, and what you don't want is a loose stove inside a hot tent when you're in it, especially when they're right next to the door where you're going to try and get out. It will push the actual flume, the pipe, the stove pipe, when you call it that. It will push it back and forward, and it'll touch the side of your tent if you get some high winds. So just a bit of caution if you're getting one of these, or you're in a hot tent. Peg it out regardless what you think, peg it all out, or you'll have a tent touching the sides of a the stove, and then that's it, it's all over. It will melt instantly. A lot of these tents now have got to be made in a certain way where they do melt and don't go on fire. There's ones you get now that's got like a silver sort of coating on it, which, coming from China, I would be very suspect about. Anything that's sort of fireproof usually, in my mind, contains asbestos, so just be very careful. I had a TP tent, a one-person one, don't use it anymore for that simple fact. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pop up a chair in here. You can see how much room you've got to sit about when you're working on your stove. Yeah, so what's your thoughts on the OneTigris Coco nest? For me, I'll go on the negative points to start with. The gap at the bottom on uneven ground is ridiculous. You definitely need sort of snow skirts on there that you can peg out like you have in the other tents that OneTigris does. It is just 10 centimetres too short. It just needs to be 10 centimetres wider, and I think they would have cracked it. It's a pretty good little tent. For one person, it's an absolute palace. If you're into sleeping on the deck or in a cot bed, absolute palace. Tons of space in it. As I said, when I used it the other night there, it was great. The heat in here, I used half the amount of sort of wood that would normally burn through a night. I didn't burn through the night, but up until when I went to bed. Again, yeah, it needs a couple of clips. It definitely needs clips for putting in. It needs a clip on the inside for hanging your lantern. It needs a clip up here for hanging your lantern, and probably another clip for hanging your carbon monoxide detector. I had to hang it off of here when I was using the burner, the cooker. But apart from that, it's not a bad wee tent. A bit on the pricey side, but OneTigris sort of tents to do fluctuate quite a bit. I think I paid £140 for the Rock Fortress. I think they're about £300 now. So you just sort of just got to watch what you're doing. Summertime is the best time to buy these. When we're in springtime, when they knock the prices them down. As I said, I failed miserably in doing that, where I left it in my sort of inbox sort of thing on Amazon and didn't push the button on it when it was £150. It cost me another £70 more. But yeah, obviously my one's got a wee flaw in it, but it's got that tab missing. Everybody knows I can use a sewing machine. I can put it on there. I might actually get some material and maybe fit some skirts on there just to stop that draft and just make mowing up. Make it a wee bit heavier, but in the long run, that's the only thing that was bugging me the other night there, especially when the temperature was as low. I think it was about 5-6 degrees, and the draft coming through was really cold, and when you've just got the heat in the tent and then a gusty wind just blew it straight out, which wasn't great. But apart from that, yeah, what's your thoughts? What do you think of it? I reckon there'll be a lot of things that I've said in here that will be a game stopper for a lot of people, especially when it comes to this part. But if you take that away, you can definitely get 2 people in here, not a problem, lying that way. Right, if you get any questions about this tent, I'm going to quickly take it down, and I'm going to get the next tent up, and we're going to talk about that for a couple of minutes. Right, so very quickly, behind here, if you watch Mike, who has the Novice Wild Camper channel, this tent did belong to him. It is the Naturehike, no name, it's just a Naturehike UL backpacking tent, so ultralight backpacking tent. The nylon on it looks very, very, very similar to the X-Mid, the early ones. Same colour, same sort of feel as well. It's a 15 denier and it's ultra fine nylon on it. So Mike had this out up in Dartmoor, I believe, and it didn't go too well with the tent. There is a few issues with it. He asked if anybody wanted it to fix it, so I pinged him an email and said I'll have a look at fixing it. Doesn't want the tent back. I can understand why when I was trying to pitch it. But we'll have a wee walk around and we'll look at the issues he had with it and what I'm going to propose to try and do. I'm not going to do a full review on the tent. I'll do that once I've sort of fixed it. So we'll just have a wee walk around now and I'll show you what went wrong for Mike. Right, so one of the first issues Mike had was, I believe, this. It ripped. Now it is, you can see it's almost transparent, it is ultra fine, right? And stitching this stuff up, which I found, it does weaken it and it makes it all come away. Now these rain flaps are actually just stitched into the stitching. So what they've done with this one, they haven't put it far enough back, they've done it right in the edge, hence it's going to come out. His other issue he had was the zips. You can see here, it's just coming out. So he has got a nick in that zip there, and that's where it will come apart. Now these zips, when they do this sort of thing, what you can do is heat them up and run it a couple of times and they will go back into shape. But this is just a very, very cheap, you can see it's all popped out here, so there's another kink in it. Very, very cheap sort of nylon zip. So that's his first issue that he had here, the rip here and the little kinks that's in that zip. It's ready to pop. I don't even think the tension is that hard on it, so I haven't got the tension that much on it when it's going to pop off. But we'll have a look at sorting this area, changing the zip over. We'll probably do away with the zip rain cover thing, this little gully. We'll probably take this off and we'll fit a lightweight waterproof zip in here, very similar to what you get on the X-Mids. In fact, as everybody who watches this channel will know, I cut my X-Mid up, I still have the waterproof zips for it, so I will probably fix them in and do away with that completely. And we'll put in quick release clips here, so when there is tension it will stem on here and not pull the zip. The rest of the tent does look alright. So this side, Mike had an absolute complete failure. The zips totally came apart. So again, what we'll do with this side is we'll change it over completely and put quick release clips from there to there and take the tension away from the actual zip itself. We'll put two-way zips in as well, so you can open it up from the side. The inner, I'm going to have a go at making it a 4 seasons inner and just patch it over with some other nylon that I've got. But that's what I intend to do. A little project that I'll get onto when time allows. I have got other ones running just now that I'm doing, so I'll probably put them on the back burner a little bit just to have a little go at fixing this tent. But it really does look like the X-Mid, same material. But it's really light, it's 1.2 kilos all in. Obviously it'll be a wee bit heavier once I'm finished with it, when I put the zips on it and when I'm weighting up the actual inner by making it 4 seasons. You can see it's just some of the quality here. I don't know if Mike's had this for new, I would presume he has, with the amount of tents he goes through. It has just got some finishing qualities. But Naturehike, they do some good stuff. I've had their backpacks, me and Sandy have both got their backpacks, and they're lightweight ones, and they're brilliant. We do like them. Again, not robust enough. One little tour up in Scotland sort of did them in a wee bit. But we'll have a look at getting this fixed. We'll have a look at the dimensions and we'll measure it as well, because Mike was saying that both doors were really tight. So we'll measure from corner to corner and then across and across and see if there's any disparity between the build, which was causing that to pull so tight on the zips. Because when I was putting this out, I did struggle getting them together while it was pitched out. So we'll have a wee look at that and check the dimensions. If there's anything else you can think I could do with the tent, apart from what Mike was going to do, he was going to throw it in the bin, just stick it in the comments below. Right, that was the OneTigris Coco Nest hot tent. If you have any questions about it, stick it in the comments. If you've got any advice about the Naturehike UL tent there, anything that you think I should try and do it while I've got the sewing machine out, stick that in the comments below. But that should be quite a fun project actually, if I can turn that into a 4 seasons beast. I doubt that very much. But yeah, it's, as I say, it's a lightweight one. I think the hydrostatic head's only 1500mm, so I wouldn't be keen to take that out in any sort of rough weather up in Scotland like the rain can be. But we'll give it a blast anyway, see what we can do. Very, very thin sil nylon on that, so I might have a few difficulties sewing it up. Right, so thanks very much for watching. If I can please ask you once again if you can like the video. Let's try and sort of attack the YouTube algorithm. As I said, at the moment the channel does seem to be heading south at the moment. I'm hoping it's not me or the content I'm producing. I'm just hoping it's the algorithm that's doing it. It does seem to point that as even the huge big channels are starting to complain a little bit of something going on. Something I did forget to mention, I have monetised the channel, and the reason I monetised it is not for the money. Trust me, there is no money in this gig with the viewing figures that I have. I mean, absolutely nothing. We're talking pennies. But it was so I can control how many ads actually get put on the video, because I was getting feedback up to 12 ads on the longer format videos. It's no good. So there will be a minimum of 3 on there. That's what I've got to do. It's just 3 ads will be on there, so try and stick with it and then go through the ads. If you get more than 3 ads in it, please stick it in the comments below and let me know, because that means that YouTube's up to a wee bit of skullduggery. I hope not. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Take care, everyone.